On today's show, you're going to learn the top 10 KPIs for HVAC contractors. Today we have a special treat from EGI's amazing coaching staff, Bob and Darrel. They're going to dive into the top 10 KPIs for residential HVAC contractors. Take it away, fellas.
Common conversations that we have with our next level coaching clients are, financial accuracy, compartmentalization in your P&L, pricing methods, labor cost. Hey, here's a big one, recruiting and hiring. Darrel?
We've got challenges as an industry. As we age, you look at Bob and I, and we've got a bit of gray in our hairs, and I've kind of lost some of mine, as you can see. People are what we do. Our business is our people. When we think about our future, it's always about our people. Overhead is a challenge every single day. How do we control it? How do we keep it in containment? Here's one thing I can promise you. Tomorrow prices will be higher than today. We know that. Now, again, looking at the contractors we speak with, a big challenge people are coming up with is exit strategies. How are we going to get out of this business? Hopefully vertically, not horizontally. And some of you may laugh at that, but it's a factor. Proper job costing. We're going to touch on that a little bit in this presentation. But how do you price for costing when we have competitors that are nipping at your heels, when we have forces that act upon you, we don't know our closing ratios, we don't know margins we need to keep, we're busy, we've got teams that sit down. I'm going to take myself back to my contracting days. One of the biggest challenges is January. My technician would be sitting out in front of me on a Wednesday, Thursday morning. He's like, hey, boss, what are we going to do today? And I'm looking around, I'm looking left and looking right, saying, oh, what are we going to do today? I better go sell something. All right, what do we do? How do we proper cost, and how do we get our teams going? And again, managing to the KPIs, managing to key performance indicators. For those of you who don't know what KPIs are, key performance indicators, it's your measurement, it's your scale. Some of you want to lose a little bit of weight, you got to step on a scale to see your measurement, see how you're doing comparing yesterday to today to tomorrow. With that, I don't have the buttons, Bob does. So, hey, Bob.
Yeah, well, Darrel, why don't you tell us, what is a KPI?
My answer. All right, key performance indicator.
Okay.
He's supposed to tell me. Bob is supposed to tell me what's going on, and I'm supposed to have a prompt here. I haven't the prompt. Okay, Bob's got to tell me. Sorry. What's a key performance indicator? Well, it's derived from consolidators, private equity, best practice groups. It's you. When we speak with you, we gather information, and we don't share, by the way, confidential information with anyone else. When we speak to you, it is 100% confidential. But your gross margin, your numbers are useful when we talk to you, because we can then use your numbers and look at industry comparisons. We've got charts inside EGIA, and a lot of you are members, so you're welcome to them. So measurements of highly performing contractors are here for you, and we use this to help you do better. We want to establish targets with you. We want to help analyze your business to help you with your processes and create process change. You're up, Bob. I'm up. Who does these next ones? I'll do them.
Oh, yeah, you go. You can go through this slide.
Okay, great. I'm going to do it live.
All
Compensation alignment. How much should be paying your people? Right? Do you know what your people should be paid? You want to compensate to keep your costs in alignment, to keep everything flowing properly. What about acquisitions? When we buy, when we sell. When we sell your business, we've got some great tools to help you do evaluation so that you can know what your business would be worth. More importantly, if you want to do an acquisition, we can help you do that also with some great tools. Departmentalization is a must. Understanding, for example, $2 million annual revenue company, 70% of that's going to be replacements, give or take $1 or $2. 30% will be maintenance and service. What we want to do is know that we can evaluate your company by departments and help you. Our role here, why we're here, is to help you and help you get better. That's in fact what this whole presentation is about. And that's frankly what EGIA is here for. I mean, we're a nonprofit and our goal here is to help you in the industry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll take this next one, Darrell. You may be asking yourself, what do you need? What do we need to be able to do KPI management? Well, it all starts with your financials. You got to have good numbers. And most companies, not just in our industry, but every industry, they do their financials and their P&L based on preparing their tax return. That's what their CPA does for them. Staying out of trouble with the IRS. Well, what we teach is managerial accounting. Using your numbers to run your business. Our numbers really tell us everything. It's going to be based on the actual operations of the business, utilizing numbers to make adjustments, managing processes to hit KPIs, metrics, and goals. Darrell, could you tell us what the purpose of KPIs are?
Sure. Help us establish our targets. So what good is a target you don't know where it is? I mean, you can aim left, you can aim right. Where are we going? We want to have targets that we can achieve. We want to then analyze. We want to have an analysis of the targets we are hitting and have an idea as to whether we're going the right direction or not. To implement change and process change. Are we doing things as we should to be able to hit our numbers, to align our compensation with where our numbers need to be? And again, talking about departmentalization, you do replacements, you do service, you do maintenance. Some of you do commercial, some of you do industrial, some of you do refrigeration. Well, we can talk about that. Some of you do new construction. We could talk about that too, but maybe offline. Give us a call on that. So departmentalization is a must to be able to evaluate everything going on in your departments. We help you on these programs, evaluate what you've got going on. And of course, acquisitions, both in selling and buying your business or other businesses. Talking about baseline, in other words, where are you compared to best in class? If you go to your doctor, he's going to take your blood pressure, he's going to take your temperature. With the numbers you report or with the numbers he measures from you, you're able to compare yourself. He's able to compare you to others. Is your blood pressure high? Is your blood pressure low? What's going on with you? Well, your KPIs are just like that. We are the doctors, and we can help you stay in alignment with best in class.
Okay, well, what should the top KPIs be? Well, this is what we're talking about today, but the most important KPIs are going to be unique to each company. I mean, every company is different, just like Darrell was just talking about. Some companies, you may be primarily residential service and replacement. You may be doing commercial. You may be doing new construction. So the KPIs are going to be unique to each company. And like I was just saying, it should vary based on this business mix. KPIs attached to revenue dollars will change over time, but KPIs with a percentage do not change. The key is to identify, track, and measure what you want and how you want your company to look. So here we go. KPI number 1, gross profit per man day, crew day. Darrell, talk to us.
So what are we talking about here? Let's begin with KPI number 1, gross profit. Understanding, firstly, what is gross profit? So for those of you, again, we'll do a quick accounting lesson. Gross profit is revenue, what you sell, less your cost of goods sold, your COGS, or direct costs, whatever you want to call it. Revenue, sales, less COGS equals gross profit. Here's a very, very, very quick accounting lesson for you. 5 numbers, all you need to know. Revenue, COGS, gross profit, overhead, net. If you can understand that, you can read any income statement. I was this morning talking to a member, and we very quickly went over a major manufacturer's numbers who report all these big 10Q reports. We said, hey, that company's got a 16.9% profit. He saw that. Guess what? His profit wasn't 16.9%. We got a chance to pick on a major manufacturer. True story from this morning. To understand gross profit per man day, we do the following. We divide gross profit by the working days. Let me be specific. In a year, we all have 365, except in Georgia. They get an extra day or two. They get extra two if you leap years. Your Bob's from Georgia. So we can pick on Bob for that regard. All kidding aside, 365 working days in a year, except leap years, 1 every 4. But how many working days do you have? Take away weekends, take away holiday, works out to, give or take a day or two, 244, not including Saturdays. If you want to add Saturdays, that's fine, but they're generally not working days across the country. We believe strongly in creating work-life balance. Work-life balance, you know, for you and your teams. Hopefully, we're not getting people to work on weekends if we don't need to.
I think we all need a coach. I mean, I guess I look at Tiger Woods needs a coach for golf, and we surely need a coach for us run our business, help us run our business. When I talk to my coach, Bob, about different things, he's constantly giving directions on where I need to go, do some studying, and it's nice that it has all that stuff in the EGIA, Contractor University stuff.
We've gotten a lot of really good advice. We're starting to implement some things that we weren't doing. We're unique because we only do ductless, so we have to kind of tweak the HVAC industry into our world, but we've been doing that, and with both Darrel's help and Bob's, we've been able to really rethink a few things, and we're starting to make some big progress.
The experience with Next Level Coaching so far has been really good. It's been really great to be able to talk about all things business, and even the social or the difficulties that we're enduring. It's not just KPIs. It's actually, it feels like it's human coaching more than business coaching sometimes.
I would say the biggest thing that I learned is about pricing, when I realized that I don't sell anything but labor. I control all my pricing through my kits, and that's where my labor is built in. And so it's made me more competitive because I'm not marking up big expensive items as much as I was, and yet I'm getting it all back from my labor. So it works really well. I'm getting paid for what we install and getting paid for what we service.
The biggest thing that we've learned from the Next Level Coaching would be the implementation process. So being encouraged on a regular basis to implement the things that we talk about, and to be able to go back and either look at the numbers or to talk to you where you remind us of where we left off, and to make sure that we're actually doing the things we said we were going to do.
Somebody else has already done this, and there are people who know how to do it. So go ask them and get the answers, because it's already been invented. You're not going to reinvent the wheel. You just have to tweak it to your company. And these guys have broad knowledge, and it just they bring it in and they can make it work for you.
Do it. I mean, Next Level Coaching, if I could convince everyone to be a part of it, I think that's a big thing for us to all participate. We need to participate in every avenue that's available to us through the EGIA.
Average capacity sold that we see, that we measure, is about 65%. In other words, 159 days. All right, you got 365 days, you're going to sell 65% of them, means 159, 160 days will be sold in your year. Again, these are numbers that we pull from money, not to say that these are exactly your numbers. If your revenue is $2 million and goal 15% minimum net profit, if we get you to 20%, even better, but minimum net profit goal 15%. Average company that we speak with will have a 70% add-on replacement. Again, this is pure residential. $2 million in residential annual revenue. Average company will run 70% add-on replacement. And when we do this with numbers with our members, this falls true time and time again. Numbers are fairly accurate within this range. This will give a company about a $1.4 million add-on replacement business. If we look at a 45% gross margin, which would give you a 15% net, what's gross margin? Gross margin is what's left over after your revenue and your COGS. 45% gross margin would be $630,000. Dividing by our 244 working days gives us to 2582. This is on replacement business. So to get to a selling price, one could take 2582, adding it to your direct costs to give you potential selling price. We want to go speak to you privately together with your numbers, offline or online together. Will help you establish your numbers. The KPI minimum is $2,500 per day per crew. So, question for you. How many days do you install a year? If you are selling your 59 days, your gross profit becomes $3,962 per day. Basically saying that we got 630,000 divided by 159. This becomes the target we have for our pricing. We take your add-on replacement department down to a singular day. You can even break this down to the hour. If you know that you've got to generate $3,962 in gross profit dollars for the day, added to your direct cost, you get the selling price. This doesn't need to be super complicated. Goal, fill as many days as possible, sell as many days as possible to lower the gross profit per man day. And needing to understand what your break even is also really, really important. And we help you do that. You will find this content in the best practice library on EGI's tools in section 4.5. Bob, number 2.
All right. Capacity to sell versus actual. This is going right into what Darrell was just talking about. But I'm going to ask you a question, and I'd like you to write down the answer. Don't feel bad. Most people never get this question right. I didn't first time it was asked of me, but what do you sell? What do we sell? Think about that. Write it down and give you a second here. I'll give you the answer. We are contractors. We sell labor. We're not Home Depot. We don't have boxes on the shelf that we get to sell boxes. Everything we do has a labor component to it because we're contractors. We sell a service call, we have to pay someone to run it. We sell a system, we have to pay someone to install it. We sell a thermostat, we got to pay someone to hang it on the wall. And the labor we have available to us is finite. Okay, this is actually one of the least tracked KPIs in the trade. The more days I sell, the more overhead is covered up. That is key. As Darrell was saying, 244 days per crew available. Industry average, 65%, so 159 days sold, 86 days unsold. Target KPI, 80% of labor days sold. So 195 sold, 49 unsold. Shoulder season strategies to get to 80%. That's right, shoulder season strategies. Let's think about that. Ask another question. What time of the year do you think you have the most opportunity? And I can tell you right now, most of you are saying, well, obviously, summer. Well, I'm going to respectfully disagree. The most opportunity is when we have the most availability of labor. So that's the shoulder seasons. And Darrell, you and I have discussed this a great deal, but I bet most of our viewers don't know where the concept of Black Friday, you know, the Friday after Thanksgiving where everybody puts everything on sale, where that came from. Well, I'm going to explain it to you because it really fits what we're talking about here. Black Friday came from the fact that manufacturers and retailers figured out that by Thanksgiving, they had pretty much covered their overhead for the year. So everything they sold after Thanksgiving till the end of the year above their raw cost was going to be profit. So I think that's very interesting. Now, how do we apply that to our crazy seasonal up and down business or industry? Well, that tells us that the most opportunity is in the shoulder seasons. And can we have strategy to get more sales in the shoulder seasons, therefore covering up more overhead? Because if we don't cover it up in the shoulder season, we're going to have to cover it up in the summer, which makes our summer jobs less profitable, if you want to look at it like that. A lot of contractors will ask me, you know, Bob, would you really take a job at break even, say in March? Well, my true break even, including overhead, yes, I will. Because it does two things. It gives my crew something to do, number one, that they wouldn't have had otherwise, but more importantly, it's covering up overhead, and that is absolutely key. So the next slide is KPI number 3, service efficiency. And this is getting into the same concept, but for the service department. And basically, we're looking at hours billed versus hours paid. If I bill 4 hours in a workday and my service tech works 8, my efficiency is obviously 50%. And that is the industry average, about 50, 52%. KPI is 75% efficient. At the KPI of 75%, I am now billing 6 hours out of the 8 hours that I pay my technician. Well, there's a lot of things that affect service efficiency. Non-billable time is the enemy of efficiency. Traffic. We're all dealing with traffic. You know, that's going to affect our efficiency. A lot of times there's nothing we can do about that. Vehicle issues. Poor dispatching can greatly affect our efficiency. And this is a pet peeve of mine, time in the supply house. When you send a service tech to the supply house to pick up a part, it will crush your efficiency. Think about it. A supply house is really an amusement park for a service tech. And there is not a soul in that building that we get to bill. The bills actually go the other way in that building. Sending the wrong tech to the job, taking too much time on a job, or as we all know, callbacks. Callbacks we can't bill for, that will crush our efficiency. And the last one on here is diagnostic only. And what we're saying there is on a service call, we're talking about calls that we only are able to collect the diagnostic. Maybe the homeowner decided not to do the repair, whatever the situation may be. Those should be less than 5%. So, okay, on to KPI number 4. Darrell?
Service labor rate. What are we discussing here? Well, let's talk about what your labor rate should be. How do you get to your labor rate? Your service ticket's got 2 components. Obviously, you retail parts, you retail labor rate. How do we get to the labor rate? We want to focus on the ratio between the cost of your labor and the selling price of the labor. And that's what this conversation becomes. The KPI is the labor cost as percentage of the retail labor must be 22% or less. We'll give you an example. The average service company is 50% efficient, as Bob said a couple minutes ago. You pay your techs every week 40 hours, but inevitably when you do the analysis, you'll find you're billing only 20. Now, if you're better than that, great. We'll speak about that in a minute. And due to the inefficiencies that Bob mentioned just a moment ago. So, for example, a $30 tech average, no, I'm going to speak on behalf of techs. I am a tech. I'm a service tech at heart. I cannot walk past a condensing unit without putting my hand on top of it. I admit it freely. I've got refrigerant in my blood. In fact, my blood is refrigerant, so I go way back, maybe R12, R22, R502. Sorry about this, but paying techs $30 an hour, $60,000 a year is barely enough. We want our people to earn more. And if you're attending our webinars and seminars, you'll hear our leadership talk about the fact that tech labor is what we're about. We're competing with other industries for tech labor. Having a $30 an hour employee, $60,000 employee today in America is not a big number. But let's use it for the sense of the example. $30 an hour using this factor of 22% would give us a charge out of $136 at 100% labor capacity. In other words, your tech works 40, you bill 40. The challenge is our efficiency isn't 100%, it's 50%. Industry average, 52%. When you go on our website, you will find calculators that help you calculate this. Using this calculation, $30 tech by 22% And 50% efficiency means that your charge out in your book should be $272.
Minimum.
I'll say it, minimum. I'll say it real quickly. That $30 tech using a 22% calculator is 136. When you're 50% efficient, it equals 272. This is what your minimum should be.
Awesome content right there, as always. Now, if you like this content, please share it with your friends on Facebook. And if you're not a member, go ahead and click the button below to get a free 30-day trial of our entire Contractor University platform. We'll see you next week. Until then, my friends, bye-bye for now.